Okay, good morning. This is Jim Williams, and we're watching Hurricane Nicole approaching Bermuda. There is the radar on the left. That's the 100-kilometer surface rainfall intensity radar from Bermuda. And notice the dark reds around the eye wall are now approaching the island of Bermuda, and that's what we do on these shows. We archive them for future reference, so people can go back and watch and see exactly what happened. This is a 125-mile-an-hour hurricane. Here's the 8 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. And I'm going to try to hold out with you as long as I can for the next several hours as this passes through. We've lost our webcams, apparently. They're not loading. So I got one webcam from the Weather Service office. I'll show you that in just a minute. Here is the advisory at 8 a.m. Extremely dangerous Hurricane Nicole closing in on Bermuda. The system is 55 miles south-southwest of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds 125. Moving north-northeast at 15 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure 953 millibars or 28.14 on your home barometer. That's 953 millibars. This is about the position we're in right now. There you see the HUR track and the current position on the radar, which is about 11 minutes old, or let's see. Yeah, that's 11-minute old radar. So we're right about at this position right here. Notice the red bands are not as intense as they were, but don't let that fool you. These winds are still probably a good 115 to 120 on that northeast eye wall. All right, let's take a look at the enhanced satellite image of our system. And notice earlier we had a lot of deep dark reds, the bright reds around the eye wall. Now it's just a sprinkling of them, so the system is definitely beginning to weaken. And that is the Bermuda Weather Service office webcam, which updates every few minutes. Now this is the latest image from 10/16, so this is current. Again, they're an hour in front of us Eastern time, but that is a current shot of the webcam and in Bermuda from the Weather Service office from maybe 15 minutes ago. And you can see water inundating everywhere. Notice the houses here, or whatever those are, the apex roofs here are water. It looks to be up to those roofs. And look at the water coming down the street. So this is all storm surge flooding, it looks like. Streets going underwater at this hour. And again, if we go back to the radar, it's going to be really, really close to see if they get in any of the calm of the eye of the storm. And it'll be interesting to see if this Bermuda webcam here actually gets that portion of the eye wall where it's calm. There's a newest shot that just came in from the Weather Service office. So they're doing a good job keeping that webcam up. Okay, it is currently 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time, or 10:40 Eastern, or 10:40 Bermuda time. And the current position of Hurricane Nicole core is now passing directly over the island as a major hurricane, 125-mile-per-hour winds as of the 8 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. There is our current fix. This is 8 minutes old, this shot right here. So you can see that we have the yellows and the reds have passed Bermuda now. So the winds are still high, but the highest winds were right in that yellow area there. And now it looks like the northern portions of the island is going to take the worst of it. A lot of these homes, they're elevated. See that one there on the right? Kind of an elevated, nice structure, nice homes. Some are elevated, some aren't. See, like this one's not. Although slightly elevated. Notice how the driveway goes up. It's from 2000. This shot was from June of last year. So they have had a couple of tropical storms actually recently. They were affected earlier this year by Tropical Storm Carl on September 24th. They were hit twice in 2014. So all these trees withstood the 2014 hits, which consisted of Hurricane Faye with 75-mile-per-hour winds and Hurricane Gonzalo with 110-mile-per-hour winds. So these trees all withstood that. Now the question is, are they going to withstand 125 mile an hour winds? That's the question. Let's see, we have SFMR winds of 71 knots. That's 82 miles per hour. Location of maximum winds 39 miles to the southwest of the center fix. So this is southwest of the center. Got the latest airport observations. Listen to this. Winds are east at 67 knots, gusting to 90. That's 105 mile an hour winds out of the east at the airport. 77 gusting to 105. I would imagine there's quite a bit of damage going on the west portions, on the northeast portions of the island. Hinson's Island. Okay, one more look at that video. It's pretty impressive. This is a 6 minutes old radar. So again, the eye is passing over the northern eye wall. Eye is past Bermuda, and they're starting to get in the eye itself. East side, there are many resorts. It's very populated on the east side of the island. The island is shaped like the letter J. Bermuda has more golf courses per square mile than any other nation, believe it or not. The widest point of the island is only 2 miles across. St. George is the oldest and easternmost part of the island, located approximately 32 north and 65 west. And again, the last time they were affected was earlier this year on September 24. Tropical storm Carl passed through the area 50 miles to the east while moving northeast with 65 mile per hour winds. So, okay, yep, just northeast of the island is where the IR shot shows the eye. But again, if you look at the 100-kilometer radar, kind of contradicts that a little bit, showing the eye is much larger. 60 nautical mile wide eye, by the way, and Bermuda is, the center of the eye is about 10 miles south of the island of the Bermuda right now, which is in the eye, reporting winds of 33 miles per hour. Here is the 250-kilometer shot of the eye passing over the island. An automated surface station on Pearl Island in Bermuda measured a sustained wind of 87 miles per hour with a gust of 119. Wow. Okay. There's our current position of Hurricane Nicole over Bermuda. Right where the system is right now, and here's looks like a real bad wind shot, a lot of wind. Again, as soon as if we get any videos in, I'll be glad to share them. Here's another shot of a bunch of trees getting whipped around in the wind. These are 45 minutes old, by the way. Here's the latest land observation. We already shared that. Okay, here's another wind shot. This is from, oh, this is a video. Let's play this. Okay. That was from, that was about 30 minutes ago. Okay, look at this observation. This was from Pearl Island, and again, that's that southern area that I was beginning to show you on Google Earth, and that has winds. This was from 10:50. This was from about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago. We had east wind, northeast winds at 76 gusting to 103 knots. That's 120 mile an hour gust in these open areas of near Somerset and some of these areas on the western portion of Bermuda. The front of the ferry terminal didn't look much better. There's some trees down, but it looks like the roofs are intact. Looks like basic canopy damage, sign damage, and tree damage, and some power lines. Oh, here's some structural. Well, there's some motorcycles flung around. Looks like maybe a power pole down or something. These are people out in the eye of the hurricane, decided to take advantage of the respite of the hurricane's eye to play an impromptu game of cricket outside of the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. It's an 8-minute-old image, and the eye is still over Bermuda. Here we go. This is real-time observations. Notice the wind barbs moving around. We have 0-mile-per-hour winds on the north part of the island. We have 12 miles an hour gusting to 16 up at Esso Pier. We have northeast winds at 13 knots on the runway at the airport. And then if we look down here near Pearl Island, we have northeast winds now, northwest winds at 38 gusting to 46. There is our view of Hurricane Matthew. I'm stuck on Matthew. Here's Hurricane Nicole with a radar satellite overlay from the Bermuda Weather Service office showing the eye right over. The eye looks like it's just northeast. Currently there's a mid-level and a low-level eye, which the Hurricane Center described. They're kind of an elliptical oval eye. And when you go right down to the surface and you look at the 100-kilometer radar, you can see that the eye is, right over the island pretty much. New images that have come in. Ooh, look at the storm surge flooding. This morning's intense downpour has overwhelmed many areas, as shown in the picture from the west end. That might be storm surge as much as rain flooding. That's an amazing shot right there. By the way, there is our current position of Hurricane Nicole using the HurTrack program. And inside the red circle are Hurricane 4 sustained winds. They will be pulling away from the island. Once this one band gets out of the way, that's going to be it for Bermuda, and then it'll be tropical storm force winds from there on out. Here is the current wind analysis from the Bermuda Weather Service office. We've got winds now approaching 85 miles an hour now in Pearl Island in western Bermuda, and it's still only blowing around 25 to 35 miles an hour on the northern portions of the island. But if you notice, if we look at the radar, you'll see that the northern portion of the island is still in the relative calm, so to speak, and the backside eye wall is now kind of like the golf club coming around and whacking them from the backside. Fortunately, very fortunate that none of these bands are in the yellows or reds, because it'd be really intense on that island. But they're getting the backside eye wall right now with the dark green bands. In fact, they're even weakening as we speak. Here is a really neat parish map overlay of the radar. And you see it coming in here. And even without them getting that convection right over them, they're getting winds of 85 miles an hour in the dry slot. That just shows you how intense this hurricane is. So once these bands get in here, these winds will probably pick up around 100 miles an hour at least. So there's going to be some damage on this island, no doubt about it. Again, we're driving. These are the areas being impacted right now on the west side of the island. Again, we've pointed out these wooden power poles and a lot of foliage. Beautiful, beautiful island. Yep, that's northeast. And that's where the eye wall is coming in right now. And I'm assuming there's probably a lot of boats in there right now. I mean, this is an old image, of course, but this is where a lot of boats, they get out in the open here to try to avoid washing up on land. They sometimes anchor their boats out in here or will ride it out during the storm to try to keep their boat from losing its dragging anchor and coming on shore. In fact, there's a boat right on the beach. I don't know, that might have been from leftover from the last hurricane, 2014, last year. Not sure why a boat would be on the beach like that, unless it maybe high tide comes in, the boat is back on water again. This might be low tide. Down area. Oh, here's some damage. This is what is this? Oops. Let me get back to that. There it is. It doesn't say where that is exactly, but definitely some road damage there. These are all real-time images coming in from Bermuda via the Royal Gazette. Oh, there's some roof damage. See, those roofs can be impacted, and I'm sure that's going to be widespread on the island. But again, notice that's right on the bay, and that wind can accelerate in here and cause a lot of damage. It makes you wonder, though, like, what could cause something like that? I mean, it doesn't look like it's a wind that was caused by wind as much as something hitting it or something. As of 12:53, 58 circuits are down. I think they said it was 57 in the last update. 24,572 without power. Now, Bermuda has about 60,000 people. There's more tree damage. Here's our radar overlay of the landmass, and there is the back eye wall moving in now. Moving in over Bermuda. Here's our 100-kilometer radar image of the back wall moving in now. Boom, right over the island. And let's check out our latest weather observations from Bermuda. And we have 78 knots, gusting at 80 knots now over the open waters near Pearl Island, the southwest portion. 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Actually, 90 mile per hour wind gusts over the western portions of Bermuda at this time. Meanwhile, up here, the winds are picking up 44 knots in the northern portion of the island. It's our IR image as the system begins to pull away. You see winds gusting to 83 miles per hour on Pearl Island in the south, and gusting to 55 knots now in the north portion of the island. Let's take a look at the 100-kilometer radar, and there's that eye wall moving in, and then things will improve after that. I think the winds are going to start coming down. Now let's look at the the radar over the map, and there is our winds. Now notice that dark band there. When that gets through, now winds are currently 80 miles an hour on the west portion of that island. It'll be interesting to see what the winds get up to when that one band moves in there. Are we talking 100 or 90 miles an hour? I think it'll pick up at least 20 miles an hour on that. So I'm thinking probably 100 mile an hour gust will get on the backside of this hurricane as that backside eye wall moves in. That was last year's hurricane season. That might have been left over from 2014 season, because this is not a current image, obviously. So this must have been from the 2014 season. Somebody left tape up there. Good luck getting that tape off. There it is. That dark green band is right over where we're driving right now. The dark green band on the backside of Hurricane Nicole is right where we are driving on the Google Earth map right now. And looking at the current observations, we are seeing winds at the northeast at 73 knots. These are real-time observations out of the east-northeast at 73 knots. They're gusting to 73. It's sustained around 65 miles an hour, gusting to 80 miles an hour on the backside eye wall of Hurricane Nicole. And then you look up here to the north. We got the winds increasing out of the north at 55 knots, gusting to 55 knots. Winds 120 miles per hour. And inside the red circle are hurricane force sustained winds. Inside the aqua circle are sustained tropical storm force winds, and inside the yellow circle are gusts to tropical storm. So once this red area pulls out of the way, I think things are going to dramatically improve in Bermuda. The island was in the calm. The eye almost passed over the dead center of the island. In fact, the observations from the airport were practically calm as Hurricane Nicole passed directly over Bermuda. Truly amazing. But right now we're getting observations of gusting to 70. Here's a gust to 83 knots. That's 93 miles an hour. Gusting to 75 miles an hour on the northern portion of the island. That's getting hammered right now. 105 mile an hour gusts. Now they're getting gusts to 76 miles an hour at the airport on the northern portion of Bermuda, northeast portion. Again, 91 knots on the southwest portion of the island right now, as this band right here is moving in right on the island, backside of Hurricane Nicole. And again, this is the area being impacted right now with those 90 mile an hour winds, or 105 mile an hour winds rather, gusting to 105. These kinds of buildings, this apartment complex might have taken, or whatever this is, looks like a little store down here, and then maybe apartments at the top. There's more roof damage. Wow, look at that. That looks like some heavy damage there. Looks like a pole knocked over, or some kind of a frame of something. And roof damage to a warehouse or something, some sort of a... Bailey's Cricket Club. That's called Bailey's Cricket Club. Took a real hard hit. There's Mullet Bay, St. George's, temporary new waterfront property. Oh, okay, all the water, the surge has come in. This is Mullet Bay with seas running high and the ground saturated from rain. Interesting. Number of people without power continues to rise, with Belco now stating 26,000 have lost power. That's facing northeast. That's where the winds are coming in at 90 miles an hour, gusting to 105 right now, the backside of Hurricane Nicole. Look at this little hut or whatever. It looks like it's made out of particle board. I mean, I don't see anything like that can hold up. Let's see. Yeah, that's all made out of wood. I don't know. Something like that would be able to hold up to these kinds of conditions. Especially when the 120 mile an hour gust came through. Radar data unavailable. They might have radar problems, folks. Let's look at the 250 kilometer. Well, unavailable. Damn. Alright, here we are gusting to 105. 105 mile an hour winds gusting on the southwest portions of the island. Amazing. 105 miles an hour gusting to 105. Sustained winds are right at hurricane force, category 1, 75 miles an hour, gusting to 105 on the backside eye wall of Hurricane Nicole. All right, here's our latest IR shot. As Hurricane Nicole pulls away from Bermuda, you can see the deep reds have pretty much disappeared now. Let's make sure that's current. This thing is flying, man. The NHC had the forward speed of 16, I believe. I think it's probably moving faster than that. It's cruising. That backside eye wall is just about out of the picture. Decapitated. That tree didn't do too well either. Again, notice the open areas that are exposed to the wind, the foliage just takes a beating. I bet you this road might be underwater that we're on right now. It's possible. We're in Somerset. This is the west side of Bermuda. Look at the roof damage. This might have been from 2014. 2 hurricanes affected them in 2014. This one may do worse damage. Look at the other side of that. No, the other side was all right. That's the latest pictures from the Royal Gazette. And again, everything I'm seeing as far as damage is concerned, we have some roof damage, some scenes like you're looking at there where there's bricks laying in the road, but from everything the whole overall picture to me doesn't seem that bad. I mean, they've got trees down, they've got power lines dangling here and there, but it doesn't look like there's whole massive, like a lot of those power poles that I've been showing you on the Google Earth tour. There's no pictures of any of those down, so maybe it's not that bad, although half the power is out on the island. 67. Looks like things are beginning to wind down. Now, the winds are out of the west-northwest, gusting to 67 knots in the area that we're driving around in right now. On the northeast portion of the island, gusting to 78 knots, so looks like things are picking up on the north portion of the island and diminishing on the southern portion of the island. Oh, look, here's a cemetery. Wow. And that's low-lying, too. That's probably underwater. Yeah, that's got to be in trouble right now, that cemetery. And there's the beach on the other side of the road. And we're heading to the very tip of the island on the west side. These are all areas that were really probably hard hit over the past several hours. They had gusts to 105 on the back side, and they had gusts to 120 on the front side. Let's go back to those observations, by the way. Again, we got 68, here's 67, still blowing around 77 miles an hour on the southwest portions where we're driving right now. On the north side, they're gusting to about 90 miles an hour at the airport. See, those weather instruments up there? No. I can't zoom in anymore. It looks like a little anemometer cup up there. Well, yeah, because this is a shipping port of some sort. There's the ships. Okay, yeah, and there's a cruise ship. This is where the cruise ships come in and out, and Bermuda. On the western portion of the island. Yeah, this is a cruise ship port. This area really took a beating today. 105 mile an hour gust on the back side, 120 on the front side. Radar's down, by the way, and the cams, except for the Bermuda service webcam. I'll show you that in just a minute, but kind of giving you a lay of the land here. And here's where the cruise ships come in. Guy ready to cross a bridge in 1939. Gray's Bridge. See what that hurricane was in 1939. That was a 125 mile an hour hurricane on October 16th. Isn't that something? Almost to the day that that hurricane hit down there. October 16th, 1939. This shot of a 125 mile an hour hurricane. That's the strongest hurricane that ever hit the island. Let's take one final look at a enhanced loop as Hurricane Nicole leaves Bermuda, and we wrap up our coverage of the worst conditions leaving the island now. The radars, let's check the radars one more time, make sure they're not up yet. And no, the radars are down.